Blood of the Dead, the remake of Mob of the Dead from Black Ops 2. A map that either you love or you hate. Same thing goes for its main quest. You either love it or you hate it. I'm one of those guys that doesn't really care. I love it for the fact of the steps, but I hate it for the fact of how long it takes. But that is what I'm here for you guys today. What is up, my fire amigos? Welcome back to the channel. What's going on today is going to be the main quest of Blood of the Dead. Now, with Blood of the Dead's main quest, it is quite long. I am not going to sugarcoat that. The world record is indeed just sub 40, below sub 40, and it's taking us years to get there. So with that being said, what I'm going to do is go over the class, then go over the setup for the map, and then go over the steps themselves. That's how this guide is going to work. Let's start off with the class, shall we? First thing as always, do you need the Hellion Salvo? Just like Ancient Evil and Dead of the Night, not by a country mile. No, you do not. The Blundergat and or Mavergat and or Acigat, whatever upgrade you want to use, is very strong. I still wouldn't recommend the Acigat, but definitely the other two are very strong for this, so you won't need the Hellion Salvo at all to help you during this. That being said, what weapons could you use? Absolutely anything. This is one of those Easter eggs where weapons aren't necessarily required, because it's half of the Easter egg is based off of the shield. You will be hearing that a lot. The shield. Just keep that in mind. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and start with the class. First thing I'm going to start with is elixirs. There's a lot of options here. An extreme amount of options here. I'm going to start with the ones I'm using right now in my game. The ones I'm using in my game, other than fire sales, are Temporal Gift, Now You See Me, and Anywhere But Here. Temporal Gift and Now You See Me are the two most important ones to have. Make sure you have those. For the other few that you want, Anywhere But Here, like I said, is good. The other green or classic elixirs that are good are going to be Arsenal Accelerator and Nowhere But There and Burnt Out. Nowhere But There is a co-op strategy. Just leave it at that. It's just a co-op strategy. As for the commons, we have Carpenter and In Plain Sight. Those are the top two dogs that you're going to want. For the rares, Fire Sales, of course, like I mentioned. I am bringing them in because I'm in a co-op game for this game. Shields Up, because the shield is the backbone of the Easter egg. Remember that. And then for the legendaries, only one Power Keg. We will be using the specials a lot, and especially for one particular side quest on this map. And lastly, for the epic elixirs, I have Refreshment, Phoenix Up, Near-Death Experience, and Shopping Free. One of the few times I'm going to recommend Shopping Free. The timing of the Shopping Free is everything. You don't want to do it off the start of the game, mostly because of the fact that you only have 3 doors, and it's the catwalk section, right? So I would use it right after you exit the catwalk if you want to get some of the maps open. Now, I didn't list a handful of elixirs that you can use, mostly because they were niche cases. The niche case, well, I'll say in the steps when I get there, but the niche elixirs are Anti-Entrapment, Who's Keeping Score, Extra Credit, Insta-Kills, Dividend Yield, Undead Man Walking. All of those are use them when you feel like you need to. Otherwise, I wouldn't recommend having them. Just go with the ones I mentioned earlier and you'll be just fine. Let's go on to the perks. In my game, I am running Time Slip, Victorious Tortoise, Stamina Up, and Winter's Wail in the modifier. Time Slip, Victorious Tortoise, and Winter's Wail are the top 3. Other perks you can use: Dying Wish, Electric Burst of all things. Bandolier Bandit is also really good with the Wonder Weapon because it does stack with the extra ammo. Ethereal Razor is one of the niche perks. You can run it if you want to because we will be having a spoon. And then Quick Revive. Any of those would work. For the talismans, Shield Durability and or Shield Cost Reduction. Both of those would work because, again, the shield is going to be the backbone of the Easter egg. There are 3 more I would recommend you guys having. One of them is a level 2 specialist weapon. Another one is a level 3 specialist weapon. And for the last talisman, it is Sigil of the Fourth Circle. Now let's go on to the other half of the class. Because as the Ether story, we have a new setup. For the specialist weapon, Any of those is viable, but on a solo game, you want the Path of Sorrows. This map is huge. Getting around with the Path of Sorrows speed is going to be top notch for you. Otherwise, if you're a co-op, one recommendation would be the Rocks. Keep those in mind. And then for the starting weapon, it's not just the Strife. The only two I would not recommend would be the Essex and the Welling. You could bring any other of the starting weapons besides the Strife. And as for the grenade, though, this does not matter either, mostly because your grenade is going to be switched out the moment we grab the Hell's Retriever for the main quest. Before we go into this, I just want to say this once. This is an Easter egg I would recommend you guys do in co-op rather than solo, but all these strategies also can be applied to solo play. Before we start this main quest, we need to get a slew of items for ourselves. We need the Hell's Retriever, just the spoon, none of its upgrades, the shield, and the Blundergat, as well as the free monkey bombs. Let's go ahead and start with the Hell's Retriever. For the Hell's Retriever, there are 3 dog heads around the map you gotta fill with 6 zombie souls. To spawn one in, kill a zombie next to it. And then for each zombie soul fed into the 3 dog heads, they need to be fed into him one at a time. The game will not accept 2 at a time. For the first dog head, it's in the New Industries building. For the second dog head, it's on CD Street, right in front of the shield table. And then for the third one, it's going to be outside the warden's house. When you fill all 3 dog heads with 6 individual zombie souls, the Hell's Retriever can be retrieved from the fast travel underneath the warden's house. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the shield. The shield has 3 parts. The first one is going to be acquired the moment you kill a warden. For the easiest warden to grab, when you're doing the catwalk section, you can either A, shoot him, or B, kill the dogs at his feet that spawn in, and then he'll spawn at the end of the catwalk section for you once you kill all the zombies in your path. Killing the warden will drop a key. For the second part, it's going to be the Spectral Essence. There are a total of 3 shock boxes in the main hub of the prison. One of them will have your shield part. For the first one, it's going to be in Times Square next to the Auger. The second one is in Sally Port next to the Blade Trap. And then the third one's in the library. Pick that up. And then for the third piece, it's going to be the door. For the door, it's all in the Citadel Tunnel section. Going down the spiral staircase for the first one, look on the left side, you're going to see 3 walls. On the third wall, you're going to see it behind the wall there. For the second one, go all the way down to the bottom of the spiral staircase, and on the left, there's going to be an entryway with a bunch of skulls. This shield piece can be there. And for the third one, go all the way to the powerhouse, and on the right-hand side next to the fence, you're going to see it there. When you get the shield parts, this can be built anywhere, the docks, the prison, or New Industries. Build it in the prison. You want it to be in a central area where you're going to be doing most of the Easter egg, which is the prison in this case. Now that we have our Hell's Retriever and our shield, we need to get the spoon. In the warden's office, you're going to look into the 3 pillars, or 2 pillars in the wall that are opposite of the tonic perk and spectral vision. This will give you a code. When you get this code with Spectral Vision, go down to the number panel, open it up with the warden's key, and shock blast it using a shield blast. Type in the code you get, the elevator to the left you will drop, putting the spoon into the water. Once you have the spoon dropped into the water, you need to go into the docks and activate the shock meter here, and then the crane will rise. When the crane stops moving entirely until it stops right above the crate, you need to throw the Hell's Retriever at the hand in the net, and then you can pick up the spoon. Now for the Blundergat. For the Blundergat, there are a total of 5 skulls. The first one you can pick up when you get down to the docks. It's right there on this pillar to the left of the shock meter. For the second one, it's going to be in the spawn. You're going to see it right here on the guardrail. The third one's going to be in the area close to the library. You're going to see the skull sitting on a toilet. Make sure to throw it in between the bars and not on the bars. For the fourth one, you need to take your Hell's Retriever to the roof and throw it right here on this box behind the shock meter. And for the last one, it's going to be in the warden's, near the warden's house, right on this telephone pole. When you have all 5, you can pick it up. Now you can keep the Blundergat for a 1 hit on all brutes when it's pack-a-punched, or you can do the Magmagat quest. I recommend everyone doing the Magmagat quest. For the Magmagat quest, you need to place this Blundergat into the fireplace. This will encase the entire house in blue. Your goal is to stay in this house and get zombie kills. When you kill a zombie, a blue orb will drop, and then you need to walk over that orb. If you get 5 orbs, 1 skull will be turned blue. If you get 10, 2 skulls will turn blue. If you get 15, there will be a sound notification. and then you'll be able to pick up the Blundergat. But first, you need to deposit essence into the fireplace. Once deposited, pick up the Blundergat and start running. You need to run from the Warden's house all the way to the New Industries building. To make sure your Magmagat stays hot, there are a total of 5 barrels you need to hit along the way to keep it running, so to keep it hot, since it is a tempered Blundergat. The first one is outside the Warden's house, the second one is in Michigan Avenue, the third one's at the entrance of the recreational yard, the fourth one is right next to the Swordfish, and then the fifth one is just outside the entrance of the catwalk. Do not forget this one or you'll have to restart the entire process. Once you hit all 5 barrels along the way, put it in the press, and then the Magmagat will be yours, but a brute will spawn. Make sure to kill the brute that spawns in. Now that we have the Magmagat, the last thing we need is the monkey bombs. In order to get the monkey bombs, you need a level 2 specialist specifically. So that talisman to start with level 2 or the talisman to start with level 3 will be just fine for you guys. When you're in the area close to where you found the skull for the Blundergat quest, you're going to notice the monkey bomb statue here underneath the CD Street catwalk section. What we need to do is get, I think it's like 20 souls with a level 2 specialist in order for the soul box to be filled. When the soul box is done collecting souls, the monkey bomb cap will be red. We need to shoot the monkey bomb cap, and in the spawn right on this teleporter, you're going to pick up the monkey bombs. Do note that we will need the Hell's Retriever later, but it will replace your Hell's Retriever. We'll get to why that's important later. As a side Easter egg to do, that's not required for the main quest, I would recommend you guys doing the upgraded shield. For the upgraded shield, you definitely need the shield and the Hell's Retriever. For this side quest, you need to hit the mystery box until you get the lock. When you get the lock, one person in your game will need to, whoever hit the mystery box specifically, will need to drain the lock's essence until it turns blue. On solo, once this happens, you throw the Hell's Retriever. But in co-op, all you have to say is throw the Hell's Retriever, and anyone who has a Hell's Retriever will get the upgraded shield immediately. Alright, now that we're done with the setup for the map, let's go ahead and talk about the steps. For the first step of the Easter egg, we are going to need our spoon. When we go into the Warden's house, we need to go up to the Titan wall by, and on the left, you're going to notice the wall here. I mean, it's just a wall, sure, but now we're going to knife it with the spoon. If we were to knife it with a stiletto or the vapor bayonet, it will not work. It has to be the spoon. But when you knife it with the spoon, the wall should crease. Now we're going to need a brute. With this brute, by round 17, he'll learn a new attack called the EMP. That is going to be our trick here. So we take this brute with the EMP all the way up to the wall and make sure he EMPs us next to the wall in order to break the wall. But who in their right mind wants to wait till round 17? Not I, says your guide maker. So what do we do now? Let's rewind a little bit and talk about our free monkey bombs here. You might be wondering, what does the monkey bomb do with the brute? Well, when the brute destroys the monkey bomb, when he sees it, the first thing he's going to do is EMP it. Does that sound like an idea to you? Because it sounds like an idea to me. So what we need to do is spawn in a brute once we have our free monkey bombs. The easiest way to do it is to open up the Pack-a-Punch machine. The Pack-a-Punch machine opening up will spawn in a brute. So I would recommend saving that for this reason alone. Now once we have that brute, we need to walk all the way down. If we run quick enough, we should despawn it and it won't lock down anything. So I would fall down to the lower levels of Times Square, then walk to his house. He might lock the tonic perk. That's perfectly okay. So when you do have the monkey bombs in hand, what we need to do is wait till the brute is right about the entrance of the prison from this office. Cook up the monkey bomb, and you need to throw it into the corner closest to the wall. So like in a conjoining point, the wall and the Titan wall by where they meet for their pointer, that's where you need to throw the monkey bomb. When doing so, the brute will go close enough to the wall to EMP the monkey bomb and the wall all in one throw. Do not go up there with him. If you go up there with him, you'll get stuck up there with him, and he has a chance to EMP you or attack you and not the monkey bomb. It's very risky going up there. But when he EMPs the wall, the warden will disappear with the monkey bomb, and then you can go into the room. When you're in the room, the first thing to do is to flip the switch next to the chair. Flipping the switch will reveal the warden underneath the tarp and cause a whole chaotic cutscene. During this process, zombies will have been despawned, and you're able to move around freely. This gives you plenty of time to do the next step. When you're in that room with the warden, The table on the left has a tiny red orb. Make sure to pick that up. What do we do with this red orb, you may ask? We need to take this red orb all the way over to spawn. And Richtofen's laboratory, there's going to be a lab of the entire map. When you hold interact with that map with the red orb in hand, the orb will be placed on the map at the lighthouse. This will start turning our Kronorium blue. I've been thinking, why? Interact with it. Go ahead.
That tears it. That book is not normal. Hey, that was ours, you ghost bird asshole!
Gosh darn it, bird, you stole our book. Come back here with that. Anyway, this step is now what's known as the bird step. The bird step is very, very hard to understand, so I'm going to separate it into a few groups to make it as easy as possible for you guys to learn. The first group is the first bird. The second group is the second and third bird and how to find that bird easily. And then the third group is going to be the fourth bird and all of its quirks. Let's go ahead and start off with the first bird. The moment you interact with the book, it takes the bird about 1 minute to take the book and travel all the way to the prison. So zombies will be despawned for that amount of time. When the zombies respawn or you hear them spawning in, you can go ahead and start looking for the first bird. The first bird will always spawn in one of 3 spots. The first spot is above the cafeteria, right next to Al's hat. The second spot is in the library on the central bookshelf. And then for the third spot, it's going to be to the right of the shield table sitting on this piece of metal. The only way you can see this bird is in spectral vision. When you do see this bird, you need to use a shield charge on the bird to make it disappear. This goes for the second and third bird. Let's segue onto section 2. For the second and third bird, you want to make sure to end the round when you are close to the gondola. If you don't, the trick I'm about to show you to find this bird easily is not going to work as well. For the second and third bird, it can spawn anywhere in the map. And as people may know, it is 60 spawns. Plus. 60 plus spawns. It's annoying to find on your own. But the community has found a way. The trick I'm about to show you will always happen at the very beginning of the round. I'm going to say this right now. Because there are so many spawns, I'm going to save the amount of spawns there are for a different video. And I'll link that video in the description when that video goes live. So if you're ever interested in finding those, go ahead and look at that link. Now, this can be seen with and without spectral vision. But if we go onto the gondola at the top of the prison and look out into this ocean with our shield, you're going to notice this. That right there is a blue streak. Not just any particular blue streak. That blue streak is our bird. The bird will go any which direction it wants to. That's the random spawn generator. Now, for this trick, it's more of a play more, experience more to get a feel of how this one works. I'm just going to use the examples in my game that I have here. The first bird I had for this trick, it went down the middle, right towards me. Down the middle is a lot of areas. It can be the powerhouse of the docks, Citadel tunnels, main hub of the prison. Those 4 locations. But you notice I only limited it to those 4. I didn't say anything about Eagle Plaza, Warden's House, Spawn, Roof. That's how it works. It just shows a general direction of where it went, so it eliminates a lot of spawns during the process. So me and my buddy, or not a buddy, the person I was playing with, went hunting. He checked out the docks, I checked out the prison Citadel tunnels. I couldn't find it in the prison, he said he couldn't find it in the docks, and eventually I found it in the spot I found it in, the Citadel tunnels. When you're looking for these birds, there will be a noise to this. It's a tiny caw, caw, caw. That was terrible, by the way, I'm sorry. Anyway, there will be that sound, and then when you're closer to that bird, it will be louder and louder. I found my bird on the location with the sandbag in front of the showers. When I found that bird, I shield blasted it. When we found the second bird, I went back to the gondola to find the third bird. And the third bird pointed all the way to the left. Now, all the way to the left is tricky. Yes, that is the spawn. It could be anywhere in the spawn being the powerhouse, the new industries building, Brichtofen's lab, anywhere like on the east side. But also, this includes the cafeteria, infirmary, roof, recreation yard, catwalk. There's a lot of spawns out there towards the east. Keep that in mind. The place I went was the spawn in the recreational yard. I couldn't find it there. The person I was playing with was on the roof. He said he couldn't hear it, so I was like, second pair of eyes wouldn't hurt. And I found it on the roof. And for my roof spawn, I found it tucked away to the left of the zombie barricade here. When I found it, of course, you gotta shock blast it. Now that we're done with group 2 being the second and third bird and how they work, let's talk about the fourth bird. For the fourth bird, there will not be a blue streak from the gondola. Keep that in mind. But when you're trying to find this bird, you do the same thing with your shield. Pull it out to get close to the spectral bird. The closer you are, the louder the noise. For the fourth bird, the bird will only spawn around the number panel, that being Citadel Tunnels, Docks, Showers, Eagle Plaza, Sallyport. All those locations is where the bird can spawn. It will not go towards the prison main hub. It will not go towards the spawn in the catwalk. It'll be around that section. This makes it a little easier because it cuts out half the map for the spawns. When you get to the exact bird spawn you have, you're going to hear this and see this. You will hear the call. When you get onto the spot it is, you're going to hear the warden's cry, and then you're going to see a flicker of light. That flicker of light is the bird itself. Now, the problem is, how are you going to see this bird if you can't see it physically right now? There's a little bit of a twist to this. The bird has went from the spectral plane into the plane of the undead. I don't know how to explain it. That's where it is. You only can see it when you're dead, but we're not dead, so what do we need? We need zombie blood. For zombie blood, there's only one code on the number panel to hit, and that is 872. So the first thing to do is find your bird, and when you have your bird, type in 872 to get the zombie blood. This is where Temporal Gift does come in handy. When you activate Temporal Gift, your time goes from 30 seconds to 60 seconds of zombie blood. With zombie blood active, go ahead and look at where you found the bird, and then pull out your shield for spectral vision to see the bird. You do not want to shield blast it. Shield blasting the bird will cause it to spook away. And then when that happens, you have to find a second bird. On top of that, if you are in a co-op game and someone else wants to see the bird with you, do not do that. The bird will get spooked if 2 or more players are in the same vicinity. This is a very finicky subject. Once the bird has been found, look at it through spectral vision and zombie blood, and you want to throw the tomahawk at it. When that happens, the bird will disappear, but if you look at your feet, the Chronorium should be at your feet. Now, here's a little bit of an inquiry for you, and this is a little bit of a tidbit time. What happens if you don't have a shield charge, or you don't have Temporal Gift, or you don't want to waste a charge on zombie blood? What if all those happens? Well, I have another solution for you guys. Let's go ahead and rewind back to the start of the fourth bird. The first thing to do is to make sure you have an in plain sight in your class. When you have that in your class, go ahead and look for the bird as per normal. Fourth bird, can't see it in spectral vision. When you see the signs I told you before, being the cawing, the warden's cry, and the flashing, go ahead and pop your in plain sight. The in plain sight acts as a temporary zombie blood for 10 seconds. You have to act fast on this. If you don't find your one location, you're going to have to flip the round in order to try again. But when you pop the in plain sight, pull out Spectral Shield and then to see the bird, and then throw the tomahawk almost immediately so you don't run out of in plain sight vision. If you do that correctly, the Chronorium should still be at your feet without using a single shock charge. Great. Now that we have the Chronorium away from the bird, finally, let's go ahead and start with the next set of steps. Once we have the book from the bird, we need to take it to the warden's house. In the room that we opened up using the brute, we need to put the book on the warden's lap. Doing so will flash the screen white, despawning all the zombies, and then there'll be a ton of character quotes. These are not skippable, but once the character quotes are done, the pages will just start flipping drastically. In order to stop them, you need to hold interact with them, and then look onto the book's pages for a code and spectral vision. This code is going to go into the number panel. When you activate this code, the lighthouse beam is going to move to one of 5 spots. The first spot's going to be at the docks. The second spot and the third spot are both in the prison. One at the end of Michigan Avenue, the other one in the showers. For the 4th and 5th spot, they're both at spawn. One in the New Industries and one at the powerhouse at spawn. Wherever it lands is going to be a specific challenge. These are random every game. If you want to have a little trick to find out where this goes, you can go to the bottom floor of the Citadel tunnels and walk all the way out to the powerhouse and look at the windows up top. If it crosses the top bar, it's going to go to the spawn. If it crosses the middle bar, it's going to go to the prison. And if it doesn't cross any of those windows at all, it's going to go to the docks. Thank you, Jolts, for that piece of information. Now, the first one we got was the New Industries building. Now, this is hands down one of the hardest ones to do. At this point, I would recommend holding at least 2 zombies. In a co-op game, you want, at least with 3 players, you want one person to babysit the last zombie once this happens. For the New Industries building, when you see your lighthouse beam hit the area, you need to shield blast the orb that's inside the beam with spectral vision. Once that happens, the step will start. This goes for all 5. For this challenge in particular, we need to kill a zombie in the library section, and then that will spawn in a ghost. To kill the zombie, you can despawn the zombie with the specialist weapon to keep the zombie at hand, so that way you don't have to flip around for it. And when the zombie is killed, you need to shield blast it, but as a recommendation, I would recommend having full charges. This step is going to take 5 to 6 charges. What's going to happen is, as soon as you shield blast the ghost to turn it into normal vision, it's going to go start hunting for a weapon. The goal is to turn him into a red ghost that can be seen visibly. How to do this is, you shield blast him. One person will need to suck the energy out of the ghost. It's only one at a time, sadly. You only see one drain it. The other players will help babysit the guy doing the ghost. Each player needs to help rotate their shield charges to shield blast the ghost so you don't drain your shield charges automatically. Because remember, we still need shield charges for the entire Easter egg. For his pathing, he's going to pick the weapon in the prison. It's usually around Michigan Avenue or the somewhere around the catwalk section around here. Anyway, it's going to start there, pick up the weapon, and it's going to make its all the way down to the New Industries. What we need to do is make sure that we have him sucked and completely red before he hits the New Industries. You'll know that you're done sucking him completely red of juice when you're going to hear this sound. When you hear that soul suckage sound, he is officially turned into a physical form. Now, remember, the way it works, you shield blast him, drain his essence, and then he disappears. Restart the process up until he gets to the point I'm showcasing right now. When you get up to this point where he's in physical form, the only way to kill him is with the New Industries trap. But when he gets to about this door, or close to the entry of the door, activate the trap, and then he'll die immediately. What he's looking for is the ghost that's just working on machinery. Poor guy. But we protected him, so he's finished the step. If the guy kills this ghost, this step will fail. So you want to make sure you get him sucked up before getting to the trap. When the ghost is killed off, he'll drop a little red orb. Now, the question is, can you put this red orb on the map just like the original one from the house? Yes, but there are a total of 5 challenges. Each of them will drop an orb when they're finished. You don't have to put them on the map at the moment you've completed. You can grab all 5, then put it on the map. That's what we're going to be doing. Once the challenge is over, head back to the warden's house and look at the book for a new code. Once you have your new code, you use a shield blast to type it in. And for the second one, we got the showers. Now, for the showers, it's probably the easiest one to do, hands down. It's quite simple. When you're in the showers, shield blast the shower orb, and there's going to be a man that comes out with a banjo. Make sure the round is probably at a full round, like at the start of a round, not like the end of the round, or else it might take a little bit longer for you guys. For this step, you need to grab the banjo that he hands you in order to cleanse the banjo. There are going to be rings of fire that spawn in randomly around the shower location. Once you start this step, no one is able to leave the showers. On top of that, there's a little bit of a weird thing that not most people know about. This is based on the amount of players that are in the showers. If you have one person in the showers, it might take like 50 souls. Okay, cool. But if you had a second player in the showers, it's going to take 75. You see where I'm going there? The more players you add in here, the more amount of souls it's going to take to cleanse the banjo. Let's take, for example, the speed run with Metobot and a couple other players for the 3-player classics world record. I think it was like 38 minutes or something like that. It was pretty fast. You'll notice that whoever was in the showers used Now You See Me, and the other players up top did not go down there with him. That way he could take all their zombies and get the souls done easier when they got the showers challenge. It's just because of that reason, more players down there equals more souls to kill. It just makes it quicker if only one person's down there. In this case, I was just showing the person I was playing with how to do it, so we were both down there. Now, with these soul boxes, the players have to be in the circles in order for the souls to count. That's number 1. Number 2, the person with the banjo cannot go down. If the person who holds the banjo goes down, the step fails. Number 3, also the person with the banjo can lose health at some random point in time. If you notice you're losing health at random and you're not getting hit by a zombie, put the banjo back. While you're cleansing the banjo, the banjo will drain the life force inside of you over time. So when you start to lose health, go ahead and put it back and tell everybody, hold off on killing zombies or just protect me, I need to put the banjo back. One of those two. So when that happens, give them back the banjo and then hand it back to you to reset the progress. The goal is to keep filling the circles with souls until you hear this noise. Once you hear that noise, you can go ahead and officially put the banjo back. He'll start playing his cleansed banjo, walk away, and then he'll give you the red orb. Once the red orb dropped from the showerman, we went back to the warden's house to look for a new code. Typing in the new code gave us a challenge of Michigan Avenue. For Michigan Avenue, we need to start this challenge by killing a zombie in the cafeteria. When doing so, it'll spawn in a ghost. I would recommend doing the same trick as before by activating your specialist weapon to despawn it and then spawning in the ghost. With this one, whoever had the monkey bombs prior, which in this case was the guy I asked to keep the monkey bombs for, not me, make sure to have them at this time. For this step alone, this is also where something like Undead Man Walking could come in handy if you wanted to. Insta-kills could come in handy if you wanted to. But if you brought it in with you, this is the step that will require Now You See Me. When you spawn in the ghost, make sure to shield blast the ghost to start the step. During this step, absolute hordes of zombies are going to come to stop this ghost from continuing forward. The goal is to protect this ghost with all costs to help it traverse from the cafeteria through the library all the way down to the end of Michigan Avenue. If it completely gets beat up to the point of disappearing, the ghost will start to flash, and when it completely dissipates, the step will fail, and you'll have to try again another time. There are going to be hordes at almost every zombie barricade possible, and then there's going to be a choke point in the library. This is where Now You See Me comes in handy if you have it. During the process, all the zombies' attention is on the ghost, but if you pop the Now You See Me, the attention will shift from the ghost to you for 15 seconds. This is plenty of time for the ghost to get out of the chokehold that it's in, being the intersection of the library and the CD Street stairs. But once that is up, you will have to kill zombies normally. When you get down to Michigan Avenue, a brute will spawn. But with the monkey bombs and both, like in our case, both magma gats, we were just fine without using Now You See Me. Now You See Me is more of a solo strategy entirely, or in co-op to make it a little easier for you guys. Same with Undead Man and Insta-Kill, those elixirs are just to make the step a little easier. But when the ghost does make it all the way to the red orb, a little red orb will drop, and then we can move on to the next step. Once we completed that step and picked up the orb, we went and got our fresh code. And then once I activated the fresh code, the challenge we got was the docks. Now the docks is by far the step everybody hates, and that's simply for Morse code. The first part of this challenge is to indeed do some Morse code. There are 2 ways to do this. The first way is brute force. I can tell you right now, with the knowledge that I have, to start the brute force, you need to type in the numbers 0 and or 1 to start the code. Now on screen, you're going to see every single Morse code number typed out in Morse code lettering, using the dots and dashes. One may ask, where do you insert this Morse code that you're speaking of? Well, that will be in Sally Port. In Sally Port, you're going to see this machine right here next to the ASCII piece, and it goes as follows. You tap it to insert a dot, and then you hold it to insert a dash. This machine is very finicky, and it has a very hard time of telling the difference between your hold and your dot. So I would recommend like a dot be 1 second, and then a dash be like 3 seconds holding it down, so they can tell the difference. Your goal is to type out a 2-digit number by brute force by holding dots and dashes until you get it right. So for example, if your number was 11, you would type in the numbers for 1 twice. That's how it would work. But then you may be asking, what's the legit way to do this? If we don't want to do brute force, how do we figure out the exact number to type in? I got you. Thank you, Jolts, once again. For this Morse code step, there are going to be a total of 3 separate buoys that will give us a Morse code value. When we get these values, we need to tally them up and then add them all together in order to form our Morse code value to type into the machine. For the first one, it can be seen from the top of the gondola that leads to the docks. The second one can be seen in the recreational yard right about here at the very top of the recreational yard. And then the third one can be seen from Rick Toffin's lab window here towards the ocean. Now for the one in the gondola, it's a little bit finicky. They're all over the dock side. I couldn't find it when standing on the gondola, but when I backed up behind the gondola, I saw the buoy. And this is what it's going to look like. That buoy number gave me dot, 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 dash, which in this case is going to be 4. So I went to the next one, and I got this. And for that one, it gave me dot, 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 dash, dash, which is 3. And for the last one, I went to the spawn in the Model Industries building, and I got this. It gave me dash, dot, 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 which gave me 6. With these 3 numbers, it gave me 4, then 3, then 6. The goal is to simply add those numbers together. When you add 4 plus 3 plus 6, you get 13. So now we need to go all the way over to the machine in Sally Port and type in 13. For 13, it is dot, dash, 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 dot, 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 dash, dash. If done correctly, your character will say a quote, and then we can move on to the next part of the step. For the next step, you need to go into the infirmary and go right into this room with the skeleton on the table. When in this room, just like before, we need to kill a zombie in the area to spawn in a ghost. Use the same trick as before, activate the specialist weapon to despawn it, and then spawn in the ghost using a shield blast. Now this is where it gets a little bit interesting. For this ghost, it's not like before where you have to follow it to go a place. No, it has to follow you. The first thing to do is gain its trust. Interact with it. Say hi. When you do that, you're going to hear this noise.
Could you describe your...
When you hear that noise, you now need to kill a zombie. Killing a zombie will get it to follow you. But only so far. You need to constantly kill zombies in order for it to follow you all the way down to the docks. The more you kill, the more it follows. What we need to do is escort it down to the docks until it gets down to the red orb. My best recommendation for traveling to the docks is to take the gondola. It gives you some time to move around. Don't worry, it'll still follow you, and there's still going to be plenty of spawns at the docks once you get down there. When you hit the red orb, you're going to see the ghost ship at the docks. Once the ghost finally hits the red orb, it'll disappear, and then you'll be able to pick up the orb. Alright, once we picked up that orb from that ghost that was for the docks, we need to go back to the book, get our final code to start our final challenge, and our final challenge is in the powerhouse at the spawn. This is by far the step people hit the most because of one simple thing. Simon Says. This is also one of the longest steps in the Easter egg, but it's actually one of my personal favorite steps, believe it or not. Anyway, to start this step, we need to shock blast the orb as per usual. But once we shock blast the orb in the powerhouse, we need to look at the power switches next to the power switch. There's going to be a ghost trying to pull a lever, but he can't. He doesn't know which one to pull. We have to help him do that. So in the powerhouse at the docks, there's going to be a generator that's smoking. Interacting with this machine will start the Simon Says. There are going to be a total of 5 trials. The first trial will just be 1 generator. The second trial will just be 2, so on and so forth. That's how it works. I usually like to stand right in front of the shock box to get the best point of view. Every time a generator turns on, it's going to be 1 out of 6. There will be a light and a nice big sound. They are 2 on the right side close to the dock entrance. I call these ones Dock 1, Dock 2. The one closest to the door is Dock 1, and then the one closest to that one's Dock 2. There's one right next to the shock box. There's one behind the ICR to the right. There's one at the entrance to the powerhouse. And then there's one at the entrance to the pack-a-punch and the power switch. While doing this, Simon Says, yes, you have to interact with them in the order that they show up in. That's fine. That's usual Simon Says. More zombies will spawn in while you're doing this step. So if you have a co-op game, ask one person to hold the zombie. And then you'll be just fine. Just note that when you are doing this, Simon Says, there isn't a time limit to how long you have until you fail, per se. So, like, if you interact with one and you interact with another one, the zombies wait, don't worry. You can wait a while to come back and go for it. When you get to the final trial and do all 5 within the order, only 3 generators are going to flash white with a paper underneath them. The 3 generators I had were Dock 2, the main entrance, and the entrance to the power. So I took a note of what those pieces of paper were. But did you know that these papers are always the same? I'm going to leave this cheat sheet on the screen right now. It's going to show each of the generators you interacted with and the slip of papers that were on that generator. Since these are always the same, if you want to take a quick screenshot of this, go ahead and do so. But what these papers are is very important. The last thing we need in this room is going to be a punch card. To the left of the generator closest to the main entrance, you're going to see this shelf lit with candles. Go ahead and pick up that punch card on that shelf, and you'll be good to go all the way back over to spawn. In the spawn room, in the Model Industries building, you're going to look at this giant computer here. And for this computer, insert the punch card you had. 6 screens are going to turn on. All these 6 screens have your 6 pieces of papers from the generators. What we need to do is simply interact with the ones that we had from the main power. So when I activate the ones I had from the generator room, I got what looks to be a fence line, a circle with 2 dashes in it, and then a circle that had a symmetrical line going down through the middle. So now what we need to do is go to the generator room for the spawn power room. You're going to notice that all of these generators have a sticky note corresponding to the symbols that we just revealed. What needs to happen is we need to use 1 shield charge on the ghost when he's going to flip that lever. I wouldn't recommend doing it when he's on the lever because you don't know if he's going to flip it then or move to a different lever. If he moves to a different lever and flips the wrong lever, you will have failed. You need to restart the step again from the start. So be patient with it. So I would watch his movements, time when you use the shield blast, so to when he's about to enter the lever. When he's about to enter the lever, shield blast him in order for him to turn the lever. When he turns it correctly, he'll disappear. Also with this step, just like the Simon Says, there will be more zombies that spawn in, so if you do get a shield charge from the zombies, that's perfectly fine. Just make sure you at least keep 1 zombie alive. But when you flip all 3 switches correctly, he will disappear entirely, but then a red orb will drop. Now, we have officially done all 5 challenges. The next thing to do is to place all 5 of our orbs that we collected and put them on the map. This will start the final sequence. Before starting the final sequence of this entire Easter egg, I would recommend everyone have the guns they want to be pack-punched. On top of that, I would recommend having at least, honestly, just 1 per player. Make sure everybody has at least 1. Now, to start this final sequence, you need to coordinate with everyone that you're done with what you need to do for the final step, and then go into the warden's office. Or warden's house, sorry. When you're in the warden's house with the warden in the chair, go ahead and hold interact with the warden, and then that will place the summoning key in his chest. When every player is in there, there will be electric beams that connect to all players, and then a cutscene will start. For the sake of skipping this cutscene, I'm going to skip this cutscene. If you want to view this cutscene, I would recommend viewing a different video. Once this cutscene is over, we're going to be stuck in these prison cells for a long while. Out of nowhere, our bird that we had to chase down from the start of the Easter egg is going to free us. Once we are freed, we need to go over to the stairs that lead into the library, and right in front of the stairs is going to be a bag. This bag will have our weaponry. The goal is to kill the brutes to make it to the catwalk. Once the brutes are destroyed, there are going to be an onslaught of dogs running through the recreation or catwalk section. I would not try to get a shield charge here. It is a literal onslaught. The best thing that I can advise is to use your weaponry that's not the blundergat in order to kill the dogs to make it a little bit faster and easier for you guys, since it's all dogs. When you get down to the bottom of the recreation yard and into the east side, you need to go up to the warden that's here. What's going to happen is the warden's going to show its face and attempt to attack you, but then the ghost that you helped during the Easter egg plus the seagull is going to save you. And when he's floated into the sky, a red orb will drop right at your feet. Pick that up, and that is the final piece. When that final piece is picked up, place it on the map, and then a door will be revealed showcasing another frozen coffin. This is important for later, not right now. What's going to happen after you reveal the coffin, another door is going to open leading into the boss fight arena. Every player needs to stand on a light that is not lit yellow. When sitting on those lights, they will light yellow, and it'll say hold X to enter boss fight. You will not return. Go ahead and do so. The boss fight, on the other hand, mediocre at best. It's abysmal. What you need to do is simple. You kill dogs, zombies, and brutes in order to progress. The dogs and brutes are the most important because they're the ones that progress the challenge. Once they are done, you can kill the last zombie, and then you can start defeating the brute. When all the brutes and dogs are taken care of, the big brute will spawn in and form a red circle. If you are outside the red circle, you're going to die. The goal is to get inside the red circle to protect yourself, and then shoot the red orbs that are going to be sprouting from the brute. Once those are all destroyed, look to the center of the machine at the top. You need to shield blast the top of the machine. Doing so will stop everything and start phase 2. Then you repeat the process. Get it down to the last zombie, kill the zombie, shoot the circles that the brute spawns in while inside his inner circle, and then shield blast the top. During this second phase, though, he's going to start spawning in apothecant circles. If you stand in these apothecant circles for too long, you're going to insta-down. So don't stand in for too long. I would avoid them like the plague. Anyway, once that second orb has been shot above the machine, whoever is Richtofen needs to stand into the machinery. If you're not playing Richtofen, don't worry. There will be a bot that spawns in. When Richtofen stands in the machine, his blood will start being sucked out of him, and then the brute will spawn in to try to stop you, because his plan is almost complete. At this point, what we are waiting on is the person who is playing Richtofen. In this game, it was me. So the person in the arena just needs to run around in circles. There's nothing you can do right now. You're just training the ginormous brute until Richtofen gets back. As Richtofen, though, you need to go up the stairs again with the fire crystal in hand that you got for the story lore, and then when you get to the door, open it, and then the fire crystal will destroy the brute's defenses. And when the defenses are destroyed, kill the brute off, and you completely finished Blood of the Dead's main Easter egg. Yeah, it's a lot. It took me a lot out of me to get all that talking done. Anyway, Blood of the Dead's Easter egg. Fantastic? Yes. Boss fight? No. Long? Yes. But it's so satisfying to complete. Thank you for watching entirely. I hope you enjoyed. Peace out, my fiery amigos.